All right. Hey YouTube, I'm Lucky, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about the meta, the sandbox inside Destiny 2, particularly for PvP and most especially for Trials of Osiris, because we have some real data to look at. Ever since the sandbox changes went live last Tuesday, everyone's been asking me, what do you think the meta is going to be now in PvP? Now, obviously, we do have a lot of people using and talking about sidearms due to the small buff that was given to them and the fact that rangefinder is not yet nerfed on them. And so we do have, obviously, sidearms in the conversation. We're going to be looking at some hard data here and comparing it to the weekend before the change in Trials, so that way we can really see what the meta is right now inside Trials of Osiris. And if we pull it up, we have here number one most used weapon is the Forerunner. The number one most used weapon inside Trials of Osiris being a sidearm? What year is it? A sidearm meta? Is that back? It's very hard to describe the Forerunner as a sidearm, in my opinion, due to the incredible range that it has. I mean, it honestly functions a lot more like a hand cannon, right? I would compare this something more to like Ariana's Vow. I mean, you can classify it as a sidearm if you want. You can classify it as a goddamn sniper for all you want, but the reality is it's not really a sidearm. I mean, it is classified as one, and we're going to call it a sidearm for the sake of this video, but let's be real here for a minute. This thing operates way beyond sidearm range and definitely is game breaking if it is a sidearm. And at this point in time, it kind of is now. Now that it's number one, I wouldn't really call for a nerf on this because it has just recently become the number one most used weapon. It was very highly used before now, and it's obviously has been a good option for a while. Obviously, the ammo economy goes along with that, which is you have to, accumulate special ammo. So if you're playing against people that have double primaries, which is something that I've used a little bit this weekend, largely due to stopping people who have Forerunners, and it has worked pretty effectively for me. So if you want to know how I'm countering the Forerunner, that is one small strategy that I'm utilizing, which is double primaries. I'm using a pulse rifle and a funnel web. That's my personal preference. And the reason why I'm using funnel web, even though it's not the highest meta rated weapon, not the most used weapon, is simply because it would outrange the sidearms. Like right now, the sidearms do have really good range, but if I can keep a little bit out of that sidearm range distance, then I should be able to outplay them with the funnel web. At least that's my idea. And it seems to work okay for me this weekend. It's not 100% always that way, but it works pretty effectively, especially as we are bordering a sidearm meta now. The number two most used weapon is the Drang Baroque now. Let me know if you're out there using the Drang Baroque inside PvP, if you're enjoying that. Obviously, you can pair these two weapons together, and in doing so, you'll be able to pair the benefits of using sidearm mods on your armor, so that way you can get better targeting and better handling speed and reload and all of that, which is a really nice combination. And I think that's probably one of the larger reasons why you're seeing more people use the Forerunner this weekend, is because of the ability to pair the sidearm mods together with the Forerunner and the Drang Baroque. That being said, though, I don't think there was any direct buff to the Forerunner from the most recent patch notes. I could be wrong, and if I am, please comment that down below. I don't think that Bungie was intending to buff the Forerunner. I think that when they buffed sidearms, they actually skipped over all of those buffs for the Forerunner. Let me know if I'm wrong down in the comments below. So the sidearm meta, the Forerunner becoming the best weapon, is probably largely due to the No Time to Explain receiving a very small nerf. And I do want to preface this by saying the nerf is so small that I'm still using it, and I still think it is probably the best weapon. And I think that more people will come back to using No Time to Explain. I think that a lot of people have like a weird mentality where they hear that a weapon is getting nerfed and they think, oh, well, it must be bad now. But Bungie did a very, very light sweep of adjustments to all these different weapons, and the No Time to Explain was only slightly adjusted. Still such a good weapon. Honestly, I think it's probably still the best primary to use in the game right now. We'll see what time tells us as we go through multiple weeks of Trials. Moving on to the number three, and we're getting on to the real plague of Trials right here. We've got Arbalist, and we're going to talk about Lawrence Driver as well. Everyone is very salty about these weapons being as strong as they are. Arbalist, the number three most used weapon this weekend in Trials on Burning Shrine, aka now Burnout. And number four is the No Time to Explain, so still getting a ton of usage. Number five is the Funnel Web, which my favorite SMG. Let me know which SMGs you're rocking out there. And then we've got number six, the Lawrence Driver, and then we've got the two big problem childs inside the Destiny 2 PvP sandbox there with the two linear fusion rifles. Everyone has been expressing their opinions for linear fusions being just way too overpowered for Destiny 2 PvP and definitely need a strong adjustment. Let me know if you agree or disagree with that. I'm not here to start the whole hashtag nerf linear fusion rifle movement myself, because I don't want to start into a war with that, because I know people get really upset as soon as you start calling for things to be nerfed. People get upset. People don't want things to be nerfed. For whatever reason, they want things to be buffed. I think that small adjustments are good over time, and I definitely think, if I had to give my opinion, I think both those need to be adjusted pretty significantly. Moving on down to the next one, though, we've got the BXR Battler. So we've got another pulse rifle, and then we've got the Peace of Mind. Okay, so you got the 450 pulse rifle, you got the 540 pulse rifles, and then you got the Macabre sniper rifle there. Nice to see that. Nice to see a sniper make it into the top 10. And obviously a lot of people are using this largely due to popularity, but not just popularity. Everyone was kind of handed a god roll, so you've got a really good roll handed to you. And it is just a really good sniper overall, so I highly recommend using that. And then you've got the Shayura's Wrath. Even after the most recent adjustments, still squeaking in the top 10. People just can't let that bad boy go. And like I said before, there was an adjustment made to it, but it's still a really good weapon. And notice something missing from the top 10 here. Hand cannons. There are no hand cannons currently in the top 10 for Destiny 2 PvP. And every time we have ever seen hand cannons not hit the top 10, we have always seen a ton of outrage and a ton of backlash from the PvP community. So you better believe that everyone's going to be very salty for the next few weeks, or honestly even months right now, as we go out of a hand cannon meta. And I know some of you out there will be like breathing a sigh of relief, like, oh, I'm tired of, farming for hand cannons and using hand cannons and only using hand cannons. And some of you out there are like, I can't believe that Bungie would actually do it, that they would really push hand cannons, the most iconic PvP weapon out of the meta, out of the top 10 for trials, especially on a map like this, where this is a very hand cannon friendly map, and you're still not seeing any hand cannons being used in the top 10. Definitely sad to see. Let me know your thoughts about that. Does that upset you? Does that make you happy? How does that make you feel in regards to no hand cannons in the top 10? RIP to the hand cannon meta. F's in the comments for that. Now we can go on to some bigger statistics here. Okay, now that we have the top 10 weapons overall, regardless of slot, kinetic, or energy, now we can go over the top 10 kinetic and the top 10 energy. So starting with top 10 kinetic, we've got the Forerunner, like we talked about, the Arbalist, the No Time to Explain, the Peace of Mind, and then the Austringer is up there. Okay, the Austringer is the number 5 overall, so probably on the other top 10 chart, it would probably be number 11 or maybe number 12. So it's the number 5. Oh, looks like if we did the math, it would be like the number 13 weapon roughly. Okay, so Austringer it's up there. It's been pushed out of top 10, but it's still up there. It's usable, but just not as strong as, some of the other options out there. We've got the Ace of Spades and the number 6 for kinetic. Obviously a really strong choice and one that a lot of people have accessibility to. We've got the Wastelander shotgun, pellet shotgun, getting pushed out of the top 10 overall, but still in the top 20. We've got the Crimson hand cannon. We've got the Hawk Moon, another 140 RPM, and we've got the Last Word. So hand cannon's right on the edge of the meta right now. Right on the edge, right on the bubble. Not the strongest weapons in the game, but not completely unusable. Let's go into the top 10 energy. We've got the Drang Baroque, of course. We've got the Funnel Web, the Lawrence Driver, yikes. We've got the BXR Battler. We've got the Macabre. We've got the Shayura's Wrath, like we've talked about. And then we have the main ingredient Fusion Rifle hanging in there in the top 20. And then we've got the Beloved Sniper. We've got the Le Monarch Bow. Oh, I hate that. I hate to see that. And then the number 10 is the Out of Bounds SMG. People still loving those SMGs. I truly think that what we can learn from out of all this data that we've seen is that the shotgun meta is dead. Use a sidearm, use an SMG. I've been saying this for a long time, and Bungie has been slowly edging things towards that direction. Very slowly edging things towards, you don't need to use a shotgun anymore. Let's get away from the shotgun dependence inside the game, because shotgun aping was such a big deal. If you don't remember the numbers from the Fellwinter's Lie era, when that bad boy was out, holy crap, was that crazy, right? It's nice to see that Bungie can truly control the sandbox in every regard and make shotguns not the meta, and yet the sandbox isn't completely imbalanced like it was back in the day with Wormwood. Does anyone remember Wormwood? Okay, Bungie and the sandbox team in D1, they struggled terribly to balance the PvP sandbox. They did not do nearly as good a job as the current team is doing, and I know some people will roast me for that and say the current team's doing terrible, they're doing an awful job, airborne effectiveness, and I'm not here to comment about all of that. I'm just saying that in terms of weapon balance, the current team is doing a decently good job. But let me know your thoughts down below. Do you agree or disagree with the adjustments that I've proposed in this video? What do you think about the current sandbox and current meta inside Destiny 2 PvP? I know a lot of people are upset about a lot of different things, and feel free to voice those concerns and your opinions down below. And make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed. Smash the like button. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Later.